Hey, what's good, everybody? I wanted to make this video real quick, and I mean, it might not be that quick, but I just want to share a story about everything with the eclipses, right? Because I had talked about it in the interview that I did in Spanish, and I was already thinking that I wanted to like put a video of it in English, right? So, anyways, it was like and a funny thing, I've noticed a pattern that every time I have an experience, it goes perfect with the next interview that I'm doing. So it's almost, obviously like divine timing. Everything is perfectly written in that way, right? So something that had happened during the eclipses was that in the first eclipse, I had been going through this kind of thing, right? Like this pain, right, for a while. And what do you call it? Just everything, right? The doctor said, oh, well, it's not this. Another doctor said, oh, well, it's not this. And then to me, it was like, well, what is it? And, I from the beginning, I thought it had something to do with spiritual stuff. But then to me, it was like, okay, well, if it's spiritual, then why don't you just fix it, right? Like, I know if you guys could fix it, then just fix it. But then I noticed it during that time, right? I wrote my book, translated it in Spanish, did an audio book, like everything, over the course of like 4 months. Had I not been in this situation, I would have never done all that, right? Which I feel is like one of the most, like, well, just right now, right? Not that anything else I've done was invaluable as far as like putting stuff out into the world, right? But the book, to me, just at that moment, right, is something valuable. But anyways, so I get that, right, that aspect of it, right? But even on that day, right, I don't know if it was like during the eclipse or like one of the days before, it was like something told me to go to the mountains, and I was like, how am I gonna go to the mountains if I could barely walk? Like, do this and that. How am I gonna go to the mountains? But they told me go to the mountains, so I was like, all right, fine. I get to the mountains. I didn't even take my dog because she won't even make it up that high, right? So she'll get tired. Um, so there I go. I start climbing the mountain, and by the time I'm at the top, I notice like all the pain is gone, right? So I'm like, what the hell? So I get to the top, give my thanks, pray, all that stuff, and on the way down, it was like this man appears, right? He appears, and he looks like a native medicine man, right? He didn't have a shirt. He had like his staff. He had his feathers in a certain way, everything. So I was just, and so then all of a sudden I just get overwhelmed with emotion. I just break down crying. He disappears, and then after, as I'm hiking down the mountain for like probably like over 5 minutes, I'm just like crying. I'm like, what the hell is wrong with me? Like, this is crazy. But I felt like it was a family member. Like, they came, like maybe like he was the one telling me go to the mountains, and they were showing me like I was gonna be healed, right? So I think it was just this overwhelming thing of emotion. So I thought that's what it was. Like, okay, like that's why I'm crying. It was just like love, right? Because I felt it in my heart too, right? So I was like, oh wow, it's crazy, right? But it was beautiful. It was a beautiful blessing. I was like, wow, because I've seen spirits before, but I was like I don't know, it just felt really familiar. Like it was one of my ancestors or something. I didn't really understand, right? Because obviously my ancestors would have been more like native people, but obviously spirits could go wherever they want. So, but it looked more like a native man from up here, right? So I was like, so one like a native man from like these parts, right? Not, I mean, like they say, right? All of this was Mexico as well, so native people from down there would have been all the way up here anyways. But that's like something that's neither here nor there, because that's not the point of the story. So anyways, when I did the interview after, right, maybe within 2 weeks after, I did the interview with the woman, but it was in Spanish. She's a medium, psychic. She's had like all the crazy experiences that like a lot of things that I could relate to, and a lot that I can't, because she's really psychic and all that, right? And so we're talking about that, and I start telling her about my experience. Oh, but before that, right? I think I start sharing it because she starts saying about something about when people that don't believe in stuff, then they come in contact with like sacred things, and all of a sudden they break down crying without stopping. But I don't think it had clicked yet, right? Like I was like, I don't know. I started sharing her. I think it did click, and that's what I was sharing. I was like, dude, I came across, and then I just broke down crying. And when I described him with his staff and everything, she pulls up her sleeve, or she turns and she shows me this big tattoo that she has, and it's this angel with the staff. And I was like, what? Because that's what the interview was about. We're talking about angels, right? And I told her, see, like I said, things happened right before. I was shown in a vision about this angel, and I even bought like this little, like I had never in my life, because like that, right? I'm more into like the native culture and all that. So I don't pray to angels or nothing like that. Like I always dealt directly with the creator, right? But it was different. It was like they guided me to this angel. And it has a strong connection with my brother too, right? Like even the name of the angel, like they would call my brother that in this life, right? Like so it was interesting, right? Like that angel appeared to me in a dream, and it was like, oh, that's interesting. So I went and I bought this little thing, and but this one's for protection, right? Saint Michael, right? And I didn't realize, like, because they in the dream they showed me in Spanish, right? San Miguel. And it ended up being like the one that they show him like beating Satan, right, and casting him down. So I know he has to do with protection and everything, right? But anyways, when she shows me the tattoo, it's of Saint Raphael, right? Archangel Raphael, right? And he has to do with healing, and he has a staff, and he has to do with the animals, and his color is green, which has to do with the heart chakra, right? Also, and I didn't think about it. Like my heart, like boom, exploded with all this love when I saw him, and all that, the healing, the all this stuff. So it was just an amazing experience. But even that, I was like, what? Like I was like, so you think it was him? She's like, for her, she's like, I know it was him. Like everything what you said and everything, and it was just amazing. Like that he came to me, right? And I could say now, like like I said, I've seen spirits and everything, but I was like, oh wow, and like an angel appeared to me. Like I would have never thought that, you know what I mean? Like I could vouch for that, right? Like, cause like I said, that's not even my, obviously when I was little, like, I'm into the, like, like the Bible, all that stuff, right? But like I said, I follow more like the native way, right? So I'm not over here someone that's praying to saints or this or that, but like this angel appeared, and it's like, hey, like if you need us, we're here, right? Like, so after that, I'm like, what I mean? Like, oh, now that I know that that's open, like, oh man, you guys are gonna stop hearing from me now, Well, not just like oh, just bugging and stuff, but like obviously, right, when you need assistance. So I was just blown away, to have that experience. It was a blessing, and then after to be able to talk about it with someone that understood, because she even had a tattoo of that angel right here, and she understood the so we broke down. It was a beautiful interview because she broke down what all the angels signify. I had no clue, like how everything was so different in each angel. Like I guess I won't even front. Like I knew that every angel had their specific thing that. I mean, I guess I did because in the book of Enoch it talks about, but I think those were like the fallen angels, right? How one of them taught men to use weapons of war, and one taught women to do this, and one taught, so how they were all like, they were the ones that came and like, kind of corrupted humanity in their way of like teaching humans how to do whatever they taught them to do, right? So just that, it was a beautiful experience. I'm curious if anyone had anything going on during the eclipses. There was also a lot of letting go. So I think that's what it had to do too, with like really a purification. Oh, and on my way up, I forgot to mention there were vultures, right? So it was a purification, right? Death and rebirth. And before I even was told to go to the mountains, I was smelling throw up, right? And I looked it up, spiritual significance of like smelling vomit. Because I guess that's one of my gifts too, like now smelling stuff. And it was verified, right? I remember I was smelling something, and I messaged, for some reason, I don't know why I brought it up to them, someone that lives like across the US on the way on the other side. And what the stuff I was smelling, they said that they were eating that, and that they were even drinking like coffee with that. They were eating that. I was like, what the hell? Like, that's insane. So, and I was smelling it randomly. Like, it just came to me. I was like, what the hell? Why am I smelling that? And I was in the mountains when I smelled it, right? So there was nowhere around. So anyways, I was smelling vomit, and it has to do with like a spirit purification as well, right? So I guess I was letting go of whatever stuff I had to cleanse, and then they told me to go to the mountain, and the vultures are flying, so it's more purification. Then I ran into the angel, so it's more more, and he's all about healing and stuff. So it's just this beautiful experience. I talked about it in the Spanish interview, but I know everybody on here doesn't understand Spanish, so I just wanted to share that story. by all means, if you had anything crazy going on during the eclipses, and then a lot of people from my past were popping up, and I knew it was books that it was a perfect time to really put them to rest, right? Because even the eclipse was in Scorpio, right, with the whole transformation, death, and rebirth. So I think I finally was able to close a lot of chapters with different people because I saw their names keep popping up, and I was like, all right, fine, let me focus on what I really need to do with this, right? And so I really just finally had the opportunity to let things go and be done with, right? See, and as I'm saying that, like my heart I could feel it in my heart, like good, right? Like that, like I did what I was supposed to do, right? So that's it. Hope you guys are well, and yeah, that's it. See, 10 minutes. I thought it was gonna be a quick video, but I guess I knew it wasn't. All right, peace.